Unfortunately, the Green Mile is no longer used for dispatching criminals in this country. There are certainly a select group of sociopaths in our world who deserve nothing more merciful or more humane than being slowly roasted by 2,000 volts while their victims watch. Now, John Coffey in the film was innocent of the crime he was convicted and sentenced for, but the punishment fit the crime, which is the point I'm trying to make here. I ask you, is a fate short of this not a travesty of justice for those who betray their country? When a group of people acting in concert seek to enrich themselves and or to serve some nefarious purpose are directly responsible for the deaths of millions of innocent people and the suffering and misery of tens of millions, then I say that a humane execution is a travesty and an insult to their victims who suffered and died at their hands. This goes for war criminals like the Bush family, Barry Soetoro and the Clintons, abortionists, pedivores, and drug dealers. And some of you might argue that selling drugs shouldn't be a capital crime. I beg to differ. The statistics support my position. Those trafficking in potentially lethal substances are collectively responsible for the deaths and tragedies that the use of those substances leads to. So if you don't want to fry them all, assign each death caused by drugs 100 years in prison and equitably distribute that time to be served among the convicts. Those non-citizens who are caught committing crimes in this country should not benefit by our Constitution. No right to state-funded attorneys, no rights at all. If every criminal standing on our soil has the same rights and protections as you or I, and in most cases more protections than citizens, then I ask you, what is the purpose of citizenship? Might as well be a Mexican for all the good it does you. There are thousands of veterans who fought in bullshit wars, believing they were fighting for freedom. They're sleeping in the streets and on steam grates in the winter to keep warm, while drug dealers are housed, clothed, and fed at taxpayer expense, running their cartels from behind bars, and rich when they're freed. Are we living in some moral twilight zone? All the wars we have fought for the last 100 years were bullshit. Wars for oil, drugs, resources, and undocumented children for the sex slave and satanic ritual sacrifice market. Those are the cold, unadulterated, verified, empirical facts. Anyone's refusal or inability to wrap their brain around this dastardly, unconscionable evil does not make any one of those statements less of a fact. The estimated 50,000 infanticides in this country every year not only provides viable organs for the illicit body parts market, but the murder in vivo of those innocents are, in reality, a sacrifice to Satan, the god these low-life elites and celebrities have sold their souls to and worship. God will judge them in the end, but we should not be remiss in our responsibility to our fellow man to enforce the law and arrange the meeting. It is inevitable that the cabal of criminals who have been running this government for at least the last 100 years are brought to justice, one way or the other. Their attempt to enslave the planet and bring about their new world order is failing all over the world. This venue, social media, has taken them down. It was too late they realized that their fix was not sufficient to put the oven-mitt fashionista in the White House. And so now they're engaged in true Nazi tactics. They're trying to censor and silence the voices of those speaking out against them. We took down multi-billion-dollar propaganda machines with a few hundred of us sitting in our kitchens with cell phones and laptops. Mark Dice, one of my favorite political satirists, has more subscribers than CNN has viewers on their cable TV fake news program. I'll bet that pisses them off to no end. The mainstream media went down the tubes because, contrary to what they would have you believe, most of us have more than the requisite gray matter it takes to keep a heart beating and lung-sucking air. Those who watch CNN are slowly getting whatever semblance of critical thinking they have left sucked out of their skulls through their ears via the constant trebuchet-launched bullshit stories that these people are broadcasting into the public airwaves. No wonder that the Klingons and the Ferengis in their warp-drive starships want nothing to do with us. The shite is fixing to hit the air movement device. I know we've been saying that for 3 years now, and by all that is good and just and sane in the universe, it should have been history a long time ago. Many of these criminals have escaped man's justice, if there is such a thing, by croaking, but those that are still sucking oxygen out of our atmosphere need to be dealt with, and dealt with before they too escape by shuffling off this mortal coil to go meet the God they're beholden to, serve, and worship. When the over 100,000 sealed federal indictments are finally unsealed, I believe this will happen after the D-class, and when the arrests are finally made, and after charges are proven beyond a reasonable doubt, Americans of every political persuasion must demand that fitting punishments be meted out to these, the vilest of criminal psychopaths. To hell with the legalistic protocols. As non-uniformed enemy combatants, they are not entitled to any of the constitutional protections that citizens are. Those who are guilty of what has been called a bloodless coup certainly should face the harshest of sanctions. However, the media, which is the only constitutionally protected profession, so protected because the founders considered the free press as a vanguard against a tyrannical government, that, along with an armed citizen militia, have long ago been covert agents of this so-called deep state and are, in fact, accomplices to traitors and should be held accountable and punished accordingly. And lately, since the 2016 election, we see the tentacles of the Fourth Reich not only around the mainstream mockingbird media, but the mega corporations that control the alternative media, which together defeated a rigged election. We are witnessing the same exact tactics used by every dictator who ever lived. Brainwash and then keep the people stupid and disarm them just in case they suddenly wake up. Because if they knew what we did, we would all be strung up and dragged through the streets like Mussolini. But don't take my word for it. The frazzled rat said it herself. If that fucking bastard wins, we all hang from nooses. Hillary Clinton, September 7th, 2016. And as I and several others have been reporting since the Peter Tweeter's laptop was seized by New York Police Department, among all of the incriminating emails that were discovered that the frazzled rat thought she bleach bitted off her server, there was one particular file named Frazzle Drip that was leaked and ended up on the dark web. It is still out there in the bowels of cyberspace. Should that video surface, even the brainwashed masses would join the ranks of patriots looking for a suitable tree. And there is also the Benghazi incident. The server in Libya was recovered by a SEAL team that defied stand-down orders and mobilized to rescue the Benghazi embassy team. They arrived too late to rescue Stevens and the others from being killed by the terrorists, but managed to retrieve the embassy's server intact. No doubt it contained some email correspondence that the Hildebeest would not want in the hands of a military tribunal. I reported on this 2 years ago. Trader 44 was arming ISIS with CIA inventoried Stinger surface-to-air missiles. When one of them was fired at a U.S. helicopter, it failed to detonate because the Haji that fired it did not arm the warhead. It brought the chopper down and the crew survived. The serial number on the missile was traced to CIA inventory. Those who knew had to be silenced, hence the attack, the order to SEAL teams to stand down, and the bullshit story about a YouTube video provoking the attack. As all of this is outed by alternative media, there is ample motivation for those who are paid or who are blackmailed or who are threatened with the loss of lucrative deep state contracts to do as they're commanded and act quickly to censor the voices offering these fact-based narratives for your consideration, lest the truth become too widely known. They know that if Jimmy Joe Bob in flyover country ever discovers these facts, losing the 2020 election would be the least of their problems. The mainstream media is long ago gone. Now that their complicity in deep state crimes by not reporting them, by spinning the facts, and by incessantly reporting what they all knew to be lies, now that we have exposed them by using the very technology they developed to surveil and enslave us, they're done. There is no comeback from this. Only a slow, lingering, bullshit babbling, Soros-funded, inevitable demise, not considering their obvious complicity in treason, which should, by all rights, result in lengthy stays at Gitmo. And as for the social media platforms, There is absolutely no doubt that Stasi-style censorship is being put in place. Our friends on Gurgle have already designed and implemented social ranking in China. Their software is already functional. If the president doesn't act immediately to fix this shit, he can call Urban Moving right now, pack his shit into cardboard boxes, and get ready to move back into the Trump Tower in New York. I say this because if the ends the socialist Nazis and the Demon Rat Party seek are achieved, the bullshit they will make appear to be true will destroy any hope of ever having a constitutional republic on this planet ever again. This is why the last election literally saved the world, and the 2020 election will determine whether or not the demonic demon rats can snatch victory out of the jaws of the dramatic defeat of 2016. We either win this war of voices or lock and load and be ready to have blood running in the streets. Nobody on this side of the political aisle wants to see violence. We know that the majority of Democrats are traditional Democrats and in no way truly support what the socialist goons are spouting forth, not that it is in any way viable. This is the main reason minorities and traditional Democrats have walked away, and precisely the reason that their last-ditch efforts to remain in power is to sponsor mass invasions of politically ignorant illegals who will show their gratitude for all their free shit by illegally voting Democrat. And so, in the spirit that we all who belong here are Americans first, no matter what our political affiliations might be, I believe that as the first-generation son of a legal immigrant who became a naturalized citizen and fought against the Nazis in World War II, and as a Vietnam veteran myself, I believe I can speak for all of us patriots and implore everyone to examine the facts and think logically. We cannot survive as a country or as a human being if we are constantly at each other's throats. Demon rats are a small minority. We are not a democracy. We are a nation of laws and a constitutional republic. We are a nation under God, and our rights and freedoms come from Him, not some bureaucrat in the District of Criminals. If you can stand and debate, we are willing to listen, if you will reciprocate in dialogue. If, on the other hand, you are so brainwashed by the mainstream media and indoctrinated by our wonderful institutions of higher learning, or should I say, high while learning institutions, then I can only offer you the following quote from one of the most prolific and celebrated authors in American history, whose image Hollywood and the mainstream media have intentionally slandered. Where the affinity level is hate, the reality is solid matter, and the communication, bullets. We have 85% of the citizens, we have 99% of the ammunition. There's a rifle behind every blade of grass. If you're looking for violence, it would behoove you to look elsewhere. If you are looking for real Americans who are fearless and relentless in the pursuit of truth, no matter what set in stone and previously ingrained paradigms have to be shattered to accomplish that end, then welcome to only one of the channels in the Digital Library of Alexandria whose scrolls have been burned 3 times for the effort. Welcome. God bless you and Godspeed. Make America great again. Please subscribe to our backup channels, Whirlwind Revolt, Inglorious Patriots, and Net for Truth USA 2 Patriot channel. You can also find us at Net for Truth USA on BitChute. We fly so close to the target, we're on our 4th fighter jet. We will be relentless truth seekers until the enemies of freedom are defeated. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com/net4truth USA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you. Links are in the description section.